Students were delighted to meet the cast members of the Brotherly Love movie on the main campus of JSU.
When it comes to your roles, how do you relate to your characters? Like, what was it about their story that made it seem like, man, I really want to show who they are?
I think a lot of times with our generation today, we can feel chastised by the generation before us, or just in general with the media. I think we can often be displayed in a very negative way. And I felt with this movie, it showed the generation talking about what's going on in the day, but not in a way that made you as a viewer feel like they were judging themselves. You kind of had more compassion and understanding for their dispositions and what was going on around them.
Yeah, I mean, with Surge, clearly the initial connection that he played basketball and that I played basketball. He played basketball at the high school level. I played basketball at the high school level. But what made me connect with his struggle was that I have so many friends, even though my life didn't directly correlate to his scenario connected to so many people who I knew. And I felt like this was an opportunity for me to help the world find out about their story.
And I also remember you guys were talking about making this movie a classic. So what about this movie makes it stand out from another production?
What makes this movie stand out to me is that there isn't one for this generation. I think this is a very specific story for our generation. You know, you have like Think Like a Man and stuff like that, or we have Superbad, but it's like nothing that really, you know, I don't have many films where I look like the character. You know,
You say you wanted to make it a classic, so do you plan on doing more movies similar to this to our generation to relate to us?
Yeah, I mean, the wild part about all of this is that I recently went on, well, I would say for like the last 5 or 6 years, went on this spiritual journey that took me into a direction completely different than I ever expected. And there are little nuggets of information that I carry with me on a daily basis. And when I talk to some of my friends about the revelations I've had, it's like, oh, really? Like, I hadn't even thought about it like that. This film, every single character goes through something where now I actually have a film where, like KeKe said, where we look like the individuals, where I can go, look, this is exactly what I was talking about. Do you know what I'm saying? So for other films in which I can actually be a part of something that conveys a message that I really believe in, oh yes, definitely, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to be a part of projects.
And I agree with that exactly. I mean, that's the same thing I feel, because Brotherly Love is only one version of those many stories. It can be told different ways.
Yeah.
This one is just some kids in Philadelphia that are in a poverty-stricken area trying to figure out how to get out. Another one maybe we're in college trying to figure out how to, you know, exactly. It'll be different. It'll be different types, and this is just the first one of what I hope will be many.
Yes.
And I just want to piggyback off of my question. Have you ever been faced with roles where you didn't agree, but you've done them anyway, or how did you deny that role because you didn't want that to portray to your audience?
Ooh, that's a great question. I've had a couple of, like I remember when I was a kid, after I did Killing the Bee, I got an offer to do this television show on a major network where it's like, you know, my mama had a gold tooth and she was sitting on the porch drinking a 40. And it's like, I can understand that is somebody's life, but in the way that it was being told, it was like you were laughing at that community as opposed to finding a way to relate to them. Like, maybe my mom was drinking a 40 ounce and had a gold tooth, but why couldn't I be in the bedroom listening to Mozart? And it's like you have to sometimes say goodbye to those things if they're not going to go along with the message that you're trying to bring to, like you said, your people or just in general young people acting. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, and even at the stages where you're auditioning for it, you're nowhere near close to booking the role. It's like your agent says, hey, look, they're looking for people, go in for this. It's at a point where you have to really have the foresight to think about, okay, when this blows up, is this something that I want to be a part of?
There was an interview that I watched of you. They had interviewed your mom, and the guy asked how proud was she of you, and she just started crying. How do you feel to be 21 years old and your mom is that proud of you? That well, she couldn't even ask the question. She just started crying.
And I just talked to you guys at dinner the other day. Like, so many things happen in our lives. As you know, we break up with somebody, or we lose a friend, or we lose opportunity. And literally, what goes in my mind, I'm not even kidding. I think, at least I've got my mom. At least I've got, my mom is always there for me. My mom has always believed in me to the point where she picked up her kids and told her husband, let's drive 4 days and 3 nights to California because I believe in what KeKe has. And it's that faith and that belief in me that really has carried me through all my life. So when I see her crying, I see her affected, that pushes me so hard to just keep going. It keeps me motivated because I know somebody's in my corner. The person that matters the most is in my corner.
Yeah. And lastly, I remember you were talking about how you had a spiritual journey in Revelations, and I follow you on Twitter, and you talk about spirituality and energy. So how do you both maintain your peace in a world such as Hollywood?
My mom always told me as a kid, peace, be still. Sometimes you just have to sit down. You have to sit down, take a breath, and just relax and understand that the answers are within you. But if you don't spend time with yourself and you're too busy going, never giving yourself a break, then you're not even allowing God to really get the moment to speak to you.
This has been Orianna Broomfield with One and Only Productions.